Power to change your life's dilemmas is hidden in one name.
The reason that what I need from God many times is not responding to me is because I'm praying or speaking to it as though it has a choice.
If I understand God, he didn't like what he was looking at, and he changed it. He didn't take no back talk except for yes. Stop letting your problems sass.
Don't underestimate the power in you. You can make the shift.
You've been created to change what you don't like that you're looking at. You got too much power to be casual. Problem is you don't know it. Everywhere you go, a shift has to occur. It depends on what comes out of your mouth.
Shift your life into divine gear. Make this life-altering series yours now when you write us. Visit our website or call 1-800-591-8480.
Somebody shout shift.
Adversaries come in many forms, but you will be victorious when you realize that worship is warfare.
Adversaries are necessary because without them, you never really discover your purpose.
We've accepted what somebody told us we were in our past. So our past is sabotaging our ability to hear instruction.
We are not much unlike a battery. The negative is the thing that's needed to produce the power.
I empowered you to overcome everything you've overcome up to this present moment. I fixed you for what's going to happen after this. You were in the mind of God long before you were ever born.
You are not alone in your battle. God has your back because worship is warfare. Put these 4 messages in your arsenal today on CD or DVD. Equip yourself by visiting our website or by calling 1-800-591-8480.
What if you could make one decision to unleash everything great in your life? Would you do it? Would you say yes? Are you tired of your relationships, your health, and so much more suffering because you lack the truth you need to change? The life you desire is within your reach. You can achieve all the success, happiness, and prosperity you deserve by simply learning the secrets that lead to real personal transformation. Change is hard, but not impossible. You just have to make one radical decision to get real. And there's no better authority on the real steps to change than David G. Evans.
Some men trust in chariots. Some men trust in horses. But we will trust in the Lord.
David G. Evans is leading the charge to bring you the power to change your life. He is committed to the mission of helping you transform and become a person of power, and it starts with his all-new system to change your situation. At the centerpiece of this life-altering collection is David Evans' groundbreaking training course, From Ridiculous to Radical to Real, This Means War. In this series, you will discover the steps to change. This series includes 2 powerful messages, each on winning the battle in your mind and cultivating a language of faith. That's 4 messages, 4 power-filled hours of material. If you want a better marriage, this series has the answers. If you want to achieve financial independence God's way, the secrets in this series will empower you to make it happen. If you want a life of power, anointing, and influence, this series will show you how to get it, and there's more. You're looking for serious, immediate results. So Bishop Evans will also include one of his best-selling messages called Weapon of Warfare. This classic teaching will build you up to start fighting in the spirit for what you deserve. This powerhouse collection, From Ridiculous to Radical to Real and Weapon of Warfare, will give you all the biblical strategies you need to change anything in your life. This collection will ship to you immediately with your gift today to David G. Evans Ministries. This ministry is revolutionizing the kingdom by empowering believers. Souls are being saved daily, and we need your help to grow this impact in a real way. Call now and sow your seed of just $35 for your transformation to help people around the world. Your $35 love gift goes straight to the front lines of ministry, providing help to those that need it most. Call now. Make the decision to get the power you need to change your life forever.
Well, praise the Lord, everybody. Welcome to OnPointe, the number one Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on any smart device at David G. Evans 1. That's at David G. Evans, the number 1. We're so glad you joined us today as we talk about those things that are relevant to you, but always from a kingdom perspective. So we talk about faith, of course, the Bible, politics, sports, significant events that are happening around the world and nationally. We talk about religion. We talk about all those things that we think will impact your life, but always giving you the kingdom perspective, the way God would have his citizens, that perspective that he would have us, have a kingdom perspective on those things going on around us. The Bible talks about the sons of Issachar who understood the times and knew exactly what to do. And they were Issacharians because they studied the wisdom books of the Old Testament. And that gave them an ability to discern, if you will, what was going on around them, but not just to see it, but to act upon it. And that's what part of what OnPointe is all about, having those conversations with you, informing you, giving you the perspective we think the Lord is giving us from the Word of God, but always looking forward to discussion, dialogue. When we disagree agreeably. That is one of the principal rules on OnPointe. So we're going to call us and you have a beef with us. If you do it in an agreeable manner, we are fine with that. We're not a one opinion program. I got a letter from a tweet from a lady a couple weeks ago, and she was accusing us of being racist because I guess we were standing for talking about race. Mm-hmm. And I wrote her back and said, there's a difference between being racial and racist, and that we believe that God created all men and women in his image and his likeness, and either she was listening selectively or she was uncomfortable with some of the conversations we were having regarding some of the realities that exist in your lifetime, my lifetime, my grandparents' lifetime, that still persist in our history. So I'm always surprised when people have this left or right reaction, because we strive real hard to be balanced in our, even when we don't like something, we try to be as balanced as possible, and I think that makes sense. But give us a call today, 866-743-8267, 866-786-6867 for Evans. Give us a call. We'd love to talk to you. Kevin Samuels died.
Yes.
I watched a few of his, being a relationship guy, I watched a few of his tapes, and I understand his controversy. I understand that Jamal got in a little trouble because he had a comment about, I haven't seen the stuff myself, so I'm depending on you to give me the 411, but I understood he commented on the fact that a GoFundMe was supposedly put in place for Mr. Samuels. But also I know that Mr. Samuels was a very controversial figure as it related to relationship, but also I found it odd that he got so much heat because he stood up for men.
Now, I haven't watched a lot of his stuff, so I
watched like 6 or 7, so I would know what I was talking about.
I can't speak to everything, but from what I saw, he got on the men just as much as he did the women.
I thought so.
I mean, a lot.
Yeah, I thought so.
I
thought it was balanced in it.
Yeah, and then there were some things that he was just completely out of line on that I was like, you go too far on this.
Well, he especially his view of church.
Yeah.
All those things I thought he was whacked.
And then, even some of his view on men and women, I was like, bruh, you took it too far. And then there were times where I heard him tell the truth, but he said it, it's how he said it was very harsh.
He framed it in such a way that it was almost, it was as though he could not break his flow of being overly aggressive.
A jerk, yeah.
Yeah. But I think what made people think he was misogynistic is that he was unafraid to approach the controversies where women were concerned. But it was amazing to me that a lot of what I witnessed on the tapes when I was, because everybody was talking about him, so I said, let me watch this guy a couple times, see what he's doing. A lot of stuff I remember us talking about 15, 20 years ago in I Love You But I Don't Understand You, Four Men Loosed, the whole Sexy and the other series. A lot of those things that we were talking about in ministry 20 years ago, 15 years ago, he said, and remarkably, I heard some sentences that were exact in their theme that we had discussed many times before, taped, televised, that kind of thing. But I don't know. The one thing I was concerned about for him was that every time I saw him, he was drinking Red Bull like he was drinking Kool-Aid.
I didn't watch him that much.
Oh, I saw him 6 or 7 times.
The clips I saw,
Yeah.
like I said, I think like him saying, women that are single and over 35 are washed up and used and stuff like that. Like that kind of stuff is just.
I knew what he was trying to say, but he didn't. He said it in a way was
dumb.
Yeah, I think the point he was trying to make, and I think this was under everything. Women have a list of requirements for the men that they want. But when a man asks them, what are you bringing to the table? They're offended by the fact that a man might have a list also. Right. And they might not be included in it.
Right. And like I said, there are times where I completely disagree with something he said.
Yeah.
And then there were times where he told the truth, but
it's the way he said it.
It was too harsh.
It was the way he said it. But they lined up to listen to him.
Oh, of course they did. Well, controversy always.
But if you're beating my head in every time.
Don't watch it.
But he had like 1.2 million followers on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, and I saw this one video where he lit this guy up.
Okay.
He lit him up. He's like, you want this high quality woman and so and so. He said, but you are broke. Your house ain't right.
Well,
you out of shape.
Yeah.
I mean, he lit his behind up. How you have this requirement?
I think a lot of people never saw those sides of him. I did. He went in. When he was talking about high quality men, he wasn't talking about a myth. He was talking about guys that had proven fruit. And I think the fact that he called them high quality caused some people to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean,
because high quality infers low quality exists.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. And I think that I was always going to ask people like that listen to him consistently. Like I said, the clips I saw, sometimes he unfairly bashed women.
Yeah.
And there are sometimes he unfairly bashed the men. And then when the times he was telling the truth, he was just a complete jerk about it. And I think that's what got some people off.
But they watched him.
That's the thing. Why watch him?
Over 1 million.
Why?
Because
it's controversial.
Cut that and oppressed mindset. Seek that kind of negative affirmation. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but the drama of it. There it is. The drama of it. Was what had so many people following him. But then he was 50-some years old. And he ends up dying. But I'm telling you, there was not a time. I watched 6 tapes to know what he was talking about because I'm hearing all this stuff about Kevin Samuel. Yeah. So I said, well, let me sit down and watch this guy. So over a period of like 3 weeks, I was able to watch like maybe 20, 30 minutes of a tape. And the drama of it was just, people were calling up to be bashed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, how it is. But I think a lot of the people who didn't watch him but saw clips of him, they're the loudest ones now.
Well, they didn't have context too.
Who didn't watch him?
Yeah, they didn't have context.
And it just...
So did Jamal say something out of line?
I think here's my thing with that. He said, he mentioned the over 35 and leftover piece.
Okay.
He's like, ladies, just because you're over 35 doesn't mean that you're wasted goods or you're invaluable, etc. Right. And then he brought up the whole GoFundMe thing. And part of me is like, bruh, he just died.
What did he say about the GoFundMe?
He said, how you going to talk about this, but then you need a GoFundMe page when you die.
Yeah, if you're going to be high value, you should have that kind of stuff.
And I agree with that.
If that's the case.
I agree with that. But I'm talking about, I can't speak for anybody. But for me, during the sermon,
the
guy just died the other day. Why do I need to bring it up? You know what I'm saying?
Well, you say it a lot. I say it a lot. Those things are not accidental.
I know.
Those things, those things are not accidental.
I know.
They're intentional.
I know.
Okay, so that means there's purpose for them.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And, you know,
And my thing is, like, a couple celebrities came out that said they may not like Kevin Samuels, but they like, why? To me, the witness of it, of unbelievers are saying,
here's
why
the thing.
is this being? You know what I'm saying?
Pastor Brian is my friend, and I'm very open with him about things. So he is expected to comment on these things by the people that follow him, because he always does. If you notice, he always comments.
Whatever's going on in the
He
world, yes.
always comments.
Yes.
You know, so it's almost like that's his style.
Yes.
I think the whole thing raises a lot of questions.
Yes. We'll talk more off air. just yeah.
In this social media platform expanding world we're in, people like to reach while the iron is hot.
Yeah.
You know. And the shelf life of things is fleeting, as I've learned from you as it relates to social media life, shelf life.
Yeah, they'll be on to something else in about a week or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got Tom from Florida so far. We're waiting for a couple more people to call. Tom will be right with you. Now I'm 70 years old, so I'm going to have help with this.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a baby formula shortage.
Yes.
The stuff that's made of all chemicals is short.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to ask a real fundamental question.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have formula.
Mm-hmm.
We had one or two things,
Mm-hmm.
three things.
Mm-hmm.
Either mother's milk, which if you're not lactating, you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Either regular milk
Mm-hmm.
or carnation milk was our formula.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the panic?
So what again?
I mean, in a stretch now. Maybe you like the chemical-based stuff,
Yeah.
but can't you go to?
I think what the issue is we have a generation that's built on convenience and things being readily available.
Carnation milk is available.
I know, but most people don't think to use carnation milk. So it's like a conditioning of this is what we use. So a lot of people were sharing online, well, if you cannot get your formula, here is somebody actually posted like an old school, like the paper was old.
Yeah.
Of this is what you need to make for your child.
Yep.
If you cannot get this.
Yeah.
But it's like fast food. Why go to McDonald's when you know the food isn't good for you?
Okay.
Versus
I hear your arguments.
I agree with you. Oh, trust me, I agree with you.
I can go to the store, get a can of carnation,
Yeah.
cut it in half with water,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got baby formula
Yes.
without
All the stuff.
the hydro, miso,
Yeah, and all that.
etro,
Yeah.
can do.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is. Dextron.
Yeah. No, like somebody put carnation with Karo syrup.
Yes,
and mixing that together.
that's what Grandma used to give us.
But you got to think about it. There was a generation that needed to be resourceful, so you found ways to get what you need, versus a generation that grew up where they didn't need to be resourceful.
But we're in a situation where you have to get food for your child.
Yes.
So all that is, I understand all that,
Yeah.
you know.
I'm not justifying it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
I understand
yeah.
all the historic stuff.
Yeah.
But at this point,
Yeah.
you know, do you call your mom? Do you call your grandma
Say, what
and
do
say,
we do?
what do I do?
Yeah.
And grandma, I'm going to tell you, go to the store,
Yeah.
get this, get some Karo syrup or
Yeah.
whatever you're going to do, and put it in there and feed the child.
Yeah, and put a little bit of stuff, like get some bananas,
Yeah.
cut them up, mix them up, do some stuff, and do, you know.
You know, it's not the end of the world.
I know, but again, when you're used to a certain way, and that way is being taken away, if you're not resourceful, you won't know how to.
Doesn't necessity make you resourceful at
I
times?
think it should. But
And you know what's going to happen? They don't want them to discover milk and Karo.
yeah, right.
They don't want them to discover carnation milk. You know why?
Yeah.
Because it ain't nearly as expensive
Yeah,
as the formula is.
yeah, that's true. And I mean, and too,
And I think the formula is what's giving all these babies these allergies.
these allergies and stuff, these issues, of course.
It's got a ton of chemicals in
Oh,
it.
if you're
You
eating-
read the label on it, where's the milk?
Yeah.
There is none.
Yeah, if you're doing stuff full of chemicals, it's not gonna. But I think if you grow up in poverty and resort. You have. I mean, that's why, you couldn't afford a new TV, so you put a hanger on it.
Then call one of your poor friends.
You figure out.
Call one of your poor friends and say, what do y'all do when you can't afford formula? Good God, I'm looking at this national news. Go to the market.
I know. But I know.
And don't give me not every baby is allergic to milk.
Right.
More of them are allergic to this chemical combination we're getting them, and they don't even call it milk. They call it formula.
Yeah. And somebody put it. I have to verify this, that doctors are telling parents homemade formula is dangerous.
Dangerous for what?
I guess for the baby. But wait a minute, a cow's milk can actually be more dangerous to
Absolutely.
a baby than.
Absolutely.
But
unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean,
national panic because you can't go to the store and get the convenience of some milk that a factory put together that has no milk in it at all.
Yeah, and we got people in the comments talk about different things they gave their kids before all of this.
Doc, carnation milk, we lived on it. That was the formula.
Yeah. And did you see the Texas governor say about for those who didn't see it, Abbott said, why are we giving formula? Watch this. The pro-life people, why are we giving formula to babies whose parents are in prison, like the migrants in those camps down in Texas, the detention camps? You know where we put them in. Why are we giving them to them, and all these American parents need formula? He didn't. So basically, don't let these kids die, first off, in these detention centers.
Let them die.
Just don't give them nothing. Let them figure it out on their own. Now, the United States is holding them. Don't give them what they need. But it's that whole America First crap that they keep talking about.
I get taking care of your own, but it does not mean leaving a wake of casualties in your path. That's not what it means.
Yes.
America First does not mean we don't have active compassion for people.
Yes.
Not my thoughts and prayers are with you. Not that crap.
Right.
Become a slogan.
Yeah.
Sorry for your loss. Yeah. They don't mean that.
They don't mean that. No, they don't mean that.
I'm getting riled up here. I'm sorry.
Now, even some of the young people in the comments are like, carnation milk is new to me. Never heard of it. See, that's the problem. A lot of them, they haven't.
You've been in the store. You've never seen it on the shelf?
If you don't look for it, if you don't know to look for it, you just walk right by it. And
so over there, it's usually over there where you get stuff when you're going to make stuff from scratch.
But most
baked
people
goods.
so
they don't do that stuff. So they don't usually have good food.
Box mix. Go get the box. Put some butter and some.
Unbe-darn-leavable. I got saved. I didn't curse. Unbe-darn-leavable. Never heard of carnation milk.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I got one for you. You're going to laugh. So I'm looking for shoe trees.
Yes.
I go to the store. I say, well, I know Walmart must have them.
No, they don't have them.
So I walked in and I said, do you have any shoe trees? Talking to one of the young people. She's about 18, 19 years old. She said, I don't know what that is. I said, those wood things that go inside the shoes?
Yeah.
And she said, I don't know if we have them. So if there be anywhere, let me take you over here. So I went over and they had a few.
The wood ones or the plastic ones?
The wood ones.
Really?
Yes, and it was a long time ago.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
And it was about 5-8 years ago.
Okay.
So then I said to her, I said, look, I said, that's what they call a shoe tree. She said, oh.
Yeah.
She had no concept.
No concept of it.
She said, well, what are they used for? I said, have you ever had a pair of shoes, you got caught in the rain, and you took them off, you let them dry, and they went toe up? Yeah. I said, that'll keep that from happening.
Right, yes. Put some shoe trees in there.
It was like,
yeah,
a shoe tree.
Like, wow.
I'm like Shazam, skyscrapers and everything.
Right. But honestly, I think we talked about this a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think as a whole, our country is doing a disservice for our young people by making everything too convenient.
We don't know how to survive.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Once the convenience is taken away, what do I do now?
No clue on what to do. And again, I'm not saying that we should make our kids go through everything we went through.
Some of the stuff?
Not keep some of the stuff. Make
them do chores for money so they don't think money is a privilege.
Yes. Keep some challenges in there that they can do that's not going to hurt them, but it's going to develop them.
Stop making excuses for them.
But I hear a lot of parents, especially a lot of younger parents. Well, I went through X, Y, and Z. I don't want my kids to experience the same thing. But what gave you the resilience you had was some of the stuff that you experienced.
What was the benefit of some of the things we had to endure?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want my kids eating because of poverty, but they're going to learn, no, you don't have any money. We're not eating out every day. No.
What is that? All right, let's go to Tom. Tom, how you doing, man?
Good morning, Bishop. How you doing, Pastor
All right,
Nick?
join our spirited conversation.
Oh, you said something about the money when it comes to formula. I looked at NBC, then PBS last night, and they both said, you shouldn't use cow's milk because it will hurt the baby's stomach.
Well, some babies can't do cow's milk.
Some, but not all of them.
Not all of them, yeah. Mine couldn't.
Not all of them. Both my grandkids drink milk.
I know this baby
like it's
talking
water.
right now,
I'm sure.
did it?
I know.
I definitely did it.
Man, let me tell you something. In the hood and not in the hood, when we were young, the baby formula was carnation milk, half and half with water. They put a little Karo syrup in there, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And we grew like crazy. Bones strong, thick bones, not bones that crack every time you run into something. Tendons great. I mean, come on, man. So all of a sudden, you don't have the chemistry set on the shelves, and you can't feed your kid. Come on.
And that stuff's expensive.
Man, it's exorbitant. Because they've got people thinking there's no other alternative. Yeah. Call your grandmother. Call your great aunt. Ask your grandfather, what did mama do? They're going to send you right to the store.
They're also blaming the president for the shortage.
Presidents don't control formula. Right. Presidents don't control inflation. Right. Presidents
gas prices.
Presidents don't control that stuff.
And we would have said the same thing if Trump was in office.
Yep.
It's balanced.
Yeah. And, Bishop, you were talking about Kevin Samuels.
Kevin Samuel Adams. That's beer, man. You giving
something
away, man. You giving something away.
I'm thinking politics. But getting past that, he more than anything, I used to listen to him. He more than anything was about high value men. I would hear a lot of women call in and would get beat up because he would go, "You're looking for a man who's making over 100,000, but what can you bring to the table?"
And what's wrong with that question?
Yeah, and I think his biggest thing was, what's wrong with the guy making 60, 70,000 that you don't want? That was, I think, the bottom line.
Yeah, he did talk about that quite a bit.
There's a majority of men. Most people aren't making over $100,000 a year in general.
No, most people aren't doing that.
Matter of fact, he said 10% of the population, and he meant not black guys. 10% of the population makes over 100,000, and if you go to that 400,000, you're talking 1% of the population, and these women are like, "Well, I deserve that," and I think that's when we beat up.
Well, yeah, he jumped them there. Because here's the deal: you got a list of what you want, but you want to bring nothing to that party. That doesn't make any sense anywhere in the world.
Yeah, you made the joke that they bring the Book of War and Peace, and what they want, you ask them, they give you a match. You got to bring more than a knife and a fork to the table. Oh yeah,
I can agree with that. There are times where I'll put a relationship post up. If it's against the guys,
the women jump
all in.
Oh yeah.
If it's against them, it's either quiet or complete.
Oh yeah.
How could you?
Annihilation.
What about the men? I'm not talking about the men right now. I'm talking about you.
Yeah, we're talking about ladies right now.
Right. Yeah. I talked about them. Let's do with you.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in church. If you say something negative about guys, the whole church goes amen.
Yeah.
You say something, ladies, you need to do this and this. You hear crickets.
Yes. Somebody that studies, teaches Bible in school, he posted something that was interesting. He said, how come on Men's Day, and you bring this up, you brought this up
Absolutely.
Before. Men's Day messages are usually, y'all need to get your life right. Not here, of course, but Mother's Day message, Women's Day, it's a full celebration. He said, but what are we going to start talking about? How some kids have issues because their mothers were bad, because their mothers. He said, not everybody had a good mother growing up.
No, they didn't.
But you never hear about these corrective things about parenting.
Well, you remember the year that I actually said that not every woman sitting here today is a virtuous woman.
They thought they was going to
Pastor Dick has this thing. Only thing moves on him is his eyes. I saw his eyes go.
I was like, oh, we jumping into this today.
You know, come on, because preachers have preached as though every woman sitting there is virtuous.
Yeah.
And that's not true. It's not true. But if you say, you know, guys in here are messed up.
Yeah.
But I like I told Pastor Nick earlier, every time I saw Samuels, I watched him about 6 or 7 times because I heard all this about him, and I wanted to get a balanced view. Every time I saw him, he had this Red Bull in his hand. It was either the can or in the glass, and that can't be good for you.
No, it's not good for you long term.
And he was
Not for your heart,
drinking
none
it
of
like it was Kool-Aid.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's not good for you.
yeah. And Bishop, you know, being your reporter down here in South Florida,
Yeah.
You know, our illustrious governor signed a bill Monday.
Oh Lord.
Victims' Day for Communists.
What?
The day will be observed in public schools on November 7th to teach about communism and the atrocities that have been committed by communists throughout the world. Of course, we can't teach about black history, but now we have a day set aside for high schoolers to learn about communism.
To learn about communism?
It's called, he signed a bill on Monday. It's called Victims of Communist Day, to be observed November 7th in all high schools.
Now,
If this is not a throwback to the Third Reich in Germany, where, you know, you teach this, but you can't teach that.
Well, they're already taking a bunch of stuff out of school in Florida, which I don't understand. The kids are going to deal with it in life, but you're not going to show it to them in school.
now maybe I've been out of school for over 20 years. This, to me, either this is political posturing,
Oh,
because
definitely.
when I was in high school, we learned about communism
And a bunch of other stuff.
and a bunch of other stuff. So I'm like, did they take it out, or is this them trying to prove a point to a crowd?
He took out the history of African Americans, and he's putting in that place the history of communists.
And I think part of this lies to where they want to call left-wing Democrats
Communists. That's what I'm saying. It's political posturing, because
And that's where I think this is going.
because we learned about Stalin, we learned about Lenin. In high school.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, all of them.
and how communism didn't work out.
Mussolini,
Yeah,
all of them.
So
Chiang Kai-shek, all of them.
yeah. So I'm like, this is, to me, it's probably political, but
Well,
Tom is right.
If you're putting the law in, it's not just political now. You got a day observance. Everybody in school has to do this.
About why communism is so bad.
What is this? This is like Russia's Victory Day?
Right.
Yeah, like May 9th, yeah, their Victory Day.
But Tom, I think, Tom, you're onto something. Probably because they keep calling liberals, Democrats, communists.
Yes.
To be the way.
Well, they call
definitely
helping
call
people socialism
socialism. Yeah.
until they
Especially-
need the help.
Right. Yeah.
You know, then,
And especially down in South Florida, if you bring the Cubans on board, which is a big voting bloc, they associate left-wing Democrat, Fidel Castro communists.
Yeah.
wow. Tom, I'm concerned about Florida, but I'm also concerned about the fact, and this might be a naive question on my part, and you guys are free to jump all over me about it. Where is the federal government in watching these kinds of things, get sparked and grow within a state? Where's the federal government on
They
this?
only have a certain reach. I don't think they can dictate this.
But it's
the state's rights.
The state has rights, but does everyone in the state have a right?
Yes.
Okay, so when everyone in the state's rights are not being protected, is that when the federal government can say something?
I believe they can step in if it's hurting people, yes. But states, the way the system is worked out, states have, like with abortion thing, the Supreme Court can ban abortion nationally. Mm-hmm. But if New Jersey and New York say, no, we're going to keep it, mm-hmm. the national government can't do anything about it.
Okay.
The whole separation of powers thing.
And the way things are set up,
the problem I have is
except in terms like slavery, constitutional change.
They influence things that they want to influence, and they ignore things that they don't want to bother. Yeah. All of a sudden, things become a federal issue if it's of interest to them, which means the income or some kind of flow is being incorrect, or if the bunch of rich guys that we have who influence government every day, no matter what administration, are uncomfortable with a decision that is made.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. It's
even when something else is happening here, they redlining the new Congress lines for because we picked up I think 1 or 2 seats, but DeSantis was definitely he was actually redlining the state himself, and federal judge told him he couldn't do that because he was definitely making it where African Americans could not have a voting block in historically black areas. He would take those areas and connect it to some huge white population. And this past week, a federal judge told him, no, you can't do that. You're actually picking up seats and you're trying to, disband seats that are already there.
My issue is that, okay, so when it comes to voting, isn't that a federal thing?
It's a federal thing, but the state legislators, when we pick up.
So based upon what you guys are saying to me, is that a state can take away a certain part of the population's right to vote, and the federal government really doesn't have a right to do anything.
They can step in if it's proven gerrymandering. They can step in and redraw stuff.
You guys, both of you guys have missed your calling. You should be attorneys.
No, I'm based off what happens. Like the government can step in and say, okay, you've crossed the line here.
All right, here's my problem.
And say they can't do it.
Here's my problem. So how am I supposed to have confidence in the fact that they're going to protect my vote, the government, when they won't protect me riding down the street?
These are all the problems that are going on.
Come on.
And people don't realize this happens every 10 years. Mm-hmm. Every time the Congress, every time the census happens, and Congress changes, somebody picks up a congressman or someone loses, they redraw the districts. Yep. And
But the repetitive nature of the offense does not give me any consolation, Tom.
Yeah, exactly. And depending on who's controlling the state house at that time can depend on who's getting the advantage when it comes to voting.
Yeah.
All right, we got to get Danny in here, our second man on the ground in Florida.
Hey, how's the weather?
We're doing all right, man. It's a little rainy today, a little too much pollen. Those of us that have allergies are suffering tremendously, but we're making it.
Like the dark plague blanket in the streets.
Have you seen the parking lot, man?
Yes. I'm like, oh my goodness.
All right, man. We got a yellow parking lot, man. I'll talk to you soon, Tom.
Hey, take care.
All right, bye-bye. Danny, 866-743-8267. Hey, Danny.
Good morning, Bishop, Pastor Nick, staff. How y'all doing today?
We're doing good, man. Thanks for calling us.
Yeah, I understand you got a little rain today.
Yeah, we got a little bit. What you guys doing down there, 85?
Yeah, we're at 85 right now and expected to go up. Last week we got up into the 90s a couple of times.
When are you guys going to get some rain?
Yeah, it's going into that season. You're very much aware. You know how the weather is here. Afternoon rain for about an hour and then
dries up again.
Right.
Every day it rained when we used to go to Florida. Every single day in the afternoon it rained.
Mm-hmm.
And then an hour after that it was like it hadn't rained at all.
Yep.
Amazing.
But I just wanted to comment on a couple of things that you had touched. You talked about the way that people were able to survive, and before there was formula.
Man, come on. Come on, man.
You
used to make your own baby food, man. You mash up the food, give them some mashed potatoes, put little eggs around there. You make it edible. You get some sweet potatoes, you mash them down with a spoon, give them to the baby, mix a little milk in there for them. Yeah, come on, man.
I I told the guys at work, I said that my grandmother was the inventor of the Happy Meal. It was no kidding. Yeah. I said, yeah, every meal we got, we were happy.
Yeah, you better not complain either.
Doc, I don't like this. I don't like that.
Right.
Where'd that come from?
Right. I'm not eating that.
And, you know,
I'm still offended when my kids say that stuff.
Yeah, I'm not eating
I don't like that, Dad. Have you ever had it? No. Well, what you mean you don't like it?
I don't want that.
You gonna like this today.
Yeah, you gonna sit there till you eat that.
And don't think the commercial on TV is gonna give you an out, Doc.
Right.
Then we'll just sit here and say, oh yeah, business about to pick up.
Yep.
And then, Bishop, there was no choice when it came to chicken. The kids
Come on,
either
man.
wing or drumstick.
That's
That was
right.
it.
The working people got the breast and the thigh.
Right. You get the drumstick.
You ain't going out of here, man. If anybody had steak on the table, it was the breadwinner.
Right.
But I just want to comment on the last thing that you all were talking about was the way that they have manipulated the whole system of things in the state of Florida. Mm-hmm. Now, DeSantis has come up with this, I guess he calls it a commission or watchdog or whatever you want to label you want to put on it, where he has a group that he has hand-selected them to go ahead and to watch what's going on as far as the elections. Mm-hmm. Now, they prosecute whoever they want to, and they look wherever they want to look at. So that's the problem. Now, a few months ago, they got caught where they were registering people to vote, senior citizens, and they didn't even know what they were signing or what party they were signing.
I saw that.
Okay? So my question is now, you know that happened, but you never said anything about this commission that you have set up to come down and investigate this.
What I don't understand is this, Dan, and I'm in perfect agreement with you. I don't understand how you know all this irregularity is going on as it relates to people's right to vote, and the Justice Department and all of this it looks like they're just standing back watching it happen to people.
Exactly. That's my frustration.
I mean, they're rewriting the maps to their clear advantage. The government knows this, and they're letting them do it. So is the federal government complicit in these wrongs?
It goes back to what Pastor Nick was saying. The way that the laws are written, there's certain things that the federal government can touch, and they know this. So they do whatever they have to do to stay within those boundaries. And that's the problem. And the next problem that we have is people getting out to vote.
Well, here's my first problem. If I'm back to my statement, if the federal government knows that people are intentionally being denied the right to vote, intentionally being made almost impossible to get to the polls, literally pulling polling places out of neighborhoods, so you got to drive an hour to get to another poll. The federal government knows this is happening. Now, I got to believe either they're up on their intelligence or they're not. And it's not going to be convenient. Oh, we don't know what's going on now, but you can tell me what Putin ate for breakfast yesterday. Come on now. The issue for me is I expect my government to step in when people are being discriminated against in their voting, in whatever.
I think the process is it has to go to the courts. You know that takes a while. And then if one court agrees with it, they have to appeal it, and it works all the way up to. So the process of.
In the meantime, what's happening?
That's the problem. People are time, and people aren't able to. It's more. Their thing is we're not stopping people from voting. It's just making it more inconvenient. They can still vote.
Right. And we're taking up time.
And some people. Well, here's my problem. There's a segment of their own population that they don't care about because some of those people are going to be impacted by it.
We know. Yep.
How's my sister doing, man?
She's blessed tremendously.
I'm gonna call the house, man, because I got to get this from her. You tell her I'm gonna give her a call this week. I got to have a talk with her. All right, man. Talk to you soon.
All right. Be blessed.
Bye-bye. 866-743-8267, 866-743-8267. This is On Point, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on any smart device at David G. Evans, the number 1. So Governor Kemp admits to voter suppression?
Mm-hmm. He was at an event and he admitted the reason why they put that bill in place to help them win against Stacey Abrams was because they saw the writing on the wall. He basically admitted to it.
So that's why she lost the election?
Yeah.
And he admits to it?
Mm-hmm. We put that in place
okay,
to make
so
it hard for people to vote.
Here I am now.
Yeah.
What is the government going to do about that?
That's the thing. How now that they know this, which they already knew ahead of time anyway, I mean, it's blatantly. If you're in charge of the elections and you're running for governor,
okay,
that's shouldn't be there.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
That's a conflict of interest anywhere in the world.
Exactly. So I mean, maybe our viewers can help me with this understanding, because I'm a little confused. If I got a subpoena from Congress and I just decided I wasn't going, would a marshal be at my door like 10 minutes after that? For us, yes. Yeah.
So we're watching our representatives say, no, we're not going. And nothing's happening. Why? Because they don't want to go after their peers?
Yeah, to go to the peers, stir the pot. Mm-hmm.
But trust me, if McConnell ever gets back in power again, he's not going to hesitate to do this kind of stuff.
Not at all. Not one bit. Democrats are bringing a knife to a gunfight, and that's
You're right about
really
that.
what it is.
You're right about that.
Yeah, that's really what it is. Because these midterms, and the problem is how Republicans come out for midterms.
Yes.
Most liberals don't.
Nope.
And they're going to be complaining if they take the House and the Senate and the whole Congress again.
I think we're a nation of slow learners, especially people that don't vote midterm. You don't go out and vote midterm, and then you complain about 4 years until you get another opportunity, and then you don't go out the next midterm.
Yeah.
But then you're upset because things haven't changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've seen people say, like with Trump, well, I voted for him just to see how it works out. In 4 years, we can always vote somebody else in.
4 years is a long time.
Thank you. That's a long time, and a lot can be done in 4 years.
Let's talk to Teresa. Hey, Teresa from Philly, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm blessed.
Hello.
Good to hear from you. Welcome to On Point this morning. What's your comment?
I just have a question maybe you might be aware of or not. I was on a call yesterday, and you guys were talking about Roe v. Wade last week. And the call I was on yesterday was basically saying that was just a camouflage for what they're really trying to do, that there's an expiration date on the women's right to vote, and that is the bigger issue. So if they take that away, that women will not be able to vote. Is that any truth in that?
I hadn't heard that, but there is a larger picture. I'm continually offended by the fact that there are certain segments of the population that our political leaders have to vote for us to continue to have the right to vote. So it is not unlikely. Now, I've never heard this before, but as far as black folk are concerned, they have to reaffirm our right to vote every couple of years.
Exactly.
So do I think it's outrageous for that to be as females also? I don't know. I'm not sure what this group will do.
Yeah.
But we need to find out if that's true.
Well, I am going to join the organization that was speaking about it. It was an organization that's a political organization, not like affiliated, it's bipartisan, but they basically go in and speak with our elected officials and basically advocate for these types of things. And if they take the right away, for women, then a whole lot of this stuff is going to get through. And they basically were saying that they're trying to go back to the patriarchy of Caucasian white men being the only people who have a real power, and which they already do. But
yeah, that never changed.
Exactly.
That never changed. It was disguised. It was disguised quite well, and they made some concessions to quiet people who were yelling and screaming about it. But that has not changed.
That's correct.
I've been saying it for the last couple of years. We've been on a journey, but we haven't traveled very far.
Exactly. Well, that's all I had to say. I appreciate you taking my call.
Good talking to you now.
You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
866-743-8267. 866-743-8267. This is On Point, the number one Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. at David G. Evans 1. What'd you find out, Pastor Nick?
About
the female thing.
Oh, I looked it up. I didn't see it anywhere.
You didn't see anything?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I know there are people who want things to go back to the way it was years ago.
So when you plugged in, is there an expiration on a woman's right to vote? Nothing came up?
It's in the Constitution. It's not. They would have to overturn. They would have to rewrite the Constitution to do that.
Was there an amendment?
They would have to go through a whole amendment process.
No. Was there an amendment put in place?
No,
okay.
No. If there was an amendment for that, please, them women would have went off.
Of course, third grade social studies. I have become a minor expert on Constitution, Bill of Rights, executive branch, judicial branch, all that kind of stuff. I don't know whether they taught it to me one time and I forgot about it, but it's I'm looking at this thing and the Constitution is supposed to protect the rights of people. That's what the Constitution says.
It's supposed to be.
Supposed to protect the rights. The Bill of Rights is supposed to protect the rights of people.
Based on now.
Based on it's a relationship with the Constitution.
Now, this is how they think.
Okay.
Based off the interpretation of it.
Well, yes, the interpretation is there.
Because we've had the Bill of Rights, you had all that stuff, Constitution, folks still slaves, women still had no rights.
I actually think it's not the interpretation. I think it's how they desire to apply it.
That's what I'm saying. It's how they want it to be used.
Yeah, because I think they know what it says.
Yes.
But the application of it is where we're running into issues.
They never meant it for certain groups.
Okay.
That's what it really comes down to.
And women wasn't one of them.
Women was one of them.
Yeah. Okay.
They could exist. Like I just realized, learned the past couple of weeks, that women, I knew about it, I didn't know it, but how women couldn't even get business loans up until, I think, the 60s, I think.
Yep.
I think it was the 60s or 70s,
yep.
yeah.
Yep.
And a business loan. And that's like recent history. My mom was born in 58. That's like recent.
I mean, you look at it. You have certain disciplines that were created for men. Policemen, military. They've created for guys. And it took women first the battle to get into it, and then to become significant in it.
Yeah. And to find a place, and then still, let's look at preachers. We
still got a problem.
Still got a problem. We have a lot of women preachers out there, but still that thing.
Overall, there's a tacit acceptance. I know some guys that made the decision to be okay with it so they wouldn't lose members.
Yes.
That they really believed in it. I know guys that told me I couldn't come back to the church because I had females. But they had a revelation after they found out that, they were going to leave if they didn't acknowledge them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the way our country is set up. It was built for, what's crazy? It was built for white men.
Okay.
Overall.
Okay.
That's really what it was.
Okay.
I mean, that's historically can show you that.
Okay.
And then the crazy thing is, poor white men didn't have many rights.
No, they didn't have any.
In the beginning.
Yeah, they didn't have much at all.
It was for rich white men.
Yeah.
And we act like it was freedom for everybody.
No, it wasn't.
It was not freedom for everybody.
No.
We see an evolution of freedom for everybody.
Freedoms,
yeah.
Yes.
But it goes back to, this is my whole crux. If poor white folk understood that they have the same thing in common as poor black people, and that the issue is not about our color of our skin, but the capitalistic system where the rich folk can be on top, we have more in common than we think. And if we actually recognize what the issue is.
Yeah, but you're talking that language there. One group would call that equality, another group would call that socialist.
Yeah. And it's like, you're poor just like everybody else.
Well, no, but we're not alike.
Yeah.
Hey, Audrey, how you doing?
Hi, Bishop. Hi, Pastor.
Hello.
Welcome.
I have a really quick question.
Go ahead.
It's not about politics.
Okay.
It's about my grandson.
Okay.
So he just turned 8,
Mm-hmm.
and he loves food. and he loves Nana spaghetti.
Okay.
So he says to me one day, Nana, are you cooking spaghetti for dinner? And I'm like, yeah, I'll fix you spaghetti. So we're all sitting down at the table, and he's like, Nana, this is so good.
Mm-hmm.
When we get to heaven, is God going to cook spaghetti like you? And I'm like, it pierced my heart because, one, we've been teaching him so he knows when he transitions in life, he'll go to heaven.
Yeah.
But how do you articulate to a child, listen, son, there is no food in heaven? Because he's like, what are we going to do all day? I want to eat.
Well,
so the question is, how do we address that?
Yeah, how do we say to him, listen, son, there is no food in heaven. Come on.
well, I mean, I wonder if we look at it depends on how you interpret this. I'm actually doing the study of Revelation now.
Okay.
To look at it literal or metaphorical. Because a lot of stuff in the book of Revelation is metaphorical.
Mm-hmm.
That's improperly taken as literal. There is a marriage supper at the end. There is a tree with some food at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus says there is no marriage in heaven because
Mm-hmm.
we won't need that. But we will have a body in the New Jerusalem
Mm-hmm.
because the resurrection of the body is a biblical concept.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we'll need food in heaven, but is there food there? Could be a possibility. I mean, because we will have a resurrected body.
But will we have the same needs that we have here?
No, that's the thing. We won't have that. So is the marriage supper metaphorical?
The marriage supper is not metaphorical as it relates to the issue with metaphor versus reality is what the metaphor stands for, the reality that the metaphor stands for. And I think when we sometimes all of us are guilty of doing with the Bible, I think, what the Bible was not meant to be used for. The metaphor reality argument, it's like when you taught us about signs, that they stand for something. The metaphors stand for something. They're not just a metaphor and that's the end of it. They're metaphors, I think, that point to something.
No, that's what a metaphor is. So,
Yeah.
like for instance, when Revelation talks about a lamb with 7 eyes,
Yeah.
is that a literal lamb with 7 eyes? No.
But he's pointing to some reality in the spirit.
That's what I'm saying. It's a reality,
Yeah.
but it's metaphorical in its nature. So, what I mean by this, I would have to. This takes too long to.
No, I understand perfectly, but what I'm saying
Yeah.
is this: that the metaphor cannot be dismissed because it points us to something real in the kingdom.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm not saying at all. What I'm saying is that in the study of Revelation,
You're getting a private Bible study, Audrey.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute.
in the study of Revelation, when you study the book of Revelation,
Yeah.
people like look at the mark, the beast, and the Antichrist, and all that stuff like that. How that was really talking about Rome and a bunch of other stuff. I mean, when you do a historical study in the book of Revelation,
I get all the historical
was
studies.
studied.
I get all the historical
Yeah.
studies, but to boil it down to nothing but a location, I believe is to minimize the revelation.
What do you mean by location?
You just said something about it included geography. Is this real? Is this real? Is this real? I think that when we look at Revelation and whatever location is used, I think we make a mistake trying to make that a metaphor when God is speaking about realities as it relates to his point of view.
Yeah, but I'm talking about a literal, like I'm talking about a literal lamb with 7 eyes. That's not a literal per se.
Unless that's a limitation of our own concept of what a lamb should look like.
But the premise is what's being explained, what's being revealed, how the 7 eyes represent the eyes of God and that kind of thing.
Well, that can be absolutely certain, yes.
Yes, that's all I'm trying to say, is that.
Does everything have to fit to our conformed experience? No.
No.
Okay.
No. But again, the Bible writers are trying to explain a concept, and it's a whole thing.
So we're under the impression that if the Bible writers were inspired by the Holy Spirit, they're not trying to explain a concept.
No, they're trying to explain
No. How are they trying to explain it if everything they wrote was by the inspiration of God?
This would take a long time for me to explain.
I get where you're going with that.
It's divinely inspired.
My point of view is that if God used them to write it, he's not trying to explain anything. And for you to say they are trying to explain something, if they're divinely inspired and everything in it is coming from him, so God tries through them or God does through them?
No, he does through them, but they're also, it's like how they talk about God, right? For example, it all depends on how you see inspiration. God divinely inspires them to write these concepts.
Okay.
So when the Bible uses terms like God has hands, eyes, and feet,
so that's
they're describing something about God
absolutely
that he does not have. They're trying to use
he
those
does
words.
He does not physically have.
Yes, to explain
but
something
we
about him.
benefit from the reality of the concept.
That's what I'm trying to say. Is
right,
that
but that does not eliminate the fact that he has reach.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's the hands of the Lord are stretched out. He doesn't have literal hands. It's what the Bible is using to describe how God is reaching out to us, stretching out to us.
It's a metaphor for his ability to interact with us.
We're talking about the same thing. That's exactly what I'm saying.
So we're going back to the reality of who he is. He's not trying to explain anything. He's explaining to us how he interacts with us.
We're talking in two different, we're saying the same thing in two different ways.
Are you getting this, Audrey?
I'm hearing you.
It's the same thing in two different ways.
Okay.
It's the same concept.
I'm not sure it is, but I understand where you're coming from. Audrey, thank you for that question this morning. We love having these conversations. We just love, it's just both of us are biblioticians, and I just love it. Our point, and we normally come back to the same thing, but we talk our way through. Thank you, Audrey. Thanks for calling us. I believe we're out of time. You're our last person. Talk to you soon. This has been On Point. Now listen up, y'all. Is it going to rain tomorrow, Pastor Nick?
It's supposed to be 80, no rain, 82.
Okay, so we will be outdoors unless some kind of typhoon comes through tomorrow. You can join us at 11 a.m. in our outdoor service, but you can also join us virtually at 8 a.m. And 10 times better, we'll be at 6 on tomorrow night. That'll be good. If you have a prayer request, please send us your prayer requests. Send them to social@go2bethany.com, go2bethany.com. social@go2bethany.com. Subscribe to all our platforms. We are absolutely elated that you joined us today. For Pastor Nicholas Smith, I'm Bishop David G. Evans. Remember, faith acts like a thing is so, even when it's not so, that it might be so. And men, join us this morning at 10:30
yes.
for the 10 Times Better Men's Conference. 10 Times Better Men's Conference. Ladies, reach out to some guys that you know. Tell them to plug on in with us. Come on to our website at BBC Events.
Oh, no, it's they had to register. It's on Zoom.
It's on Zoom?
Yeah, so if they didn't register, I think they said the last day to register was yesterday.
No, we need to be registering up to the moment, so somebody needs to change that.
Okay.
You can't decide,
That's what I was told. I didn't.
Yeah, that doesn't make no sense to me. Can't make it hard for people to get involved.
Okay.
All right, so join us today. If you have any questions, call the church. If you have any problems getting registered today, call the church. What's the best number, Pastor Nick?
Let me see. Tell them to just call security desk, and I'll tell security what to do.
That would be 856-784.
What I will do. She's opening the registration now.
Okay.
Go to one of our social media pages.
Okay.
On Facebook.
Any one of?
Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram, and you can register there.
Okay, so they need to know. David G. Evans 1 will get them there?
David G. Evans or
David G. Evans 1.
Or the BBC website.
BBC of NJ.
Yep.
David G. Evans 1 or BBC of NJ. Go there now if you want to register and be a part of this great event that's happening this morning starting at 10:30. We'd be glad for you to join us. Once again, for Pastor Nicholas Smith, I'm Bishop David G. Evans, and we'll see you next time.